Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm great. So we are back with another episode of Chasing the Bag podcast.
It's been an interesting couple of weeks. We thought we'd record last week.
Yeah,
It was last week, but I think I had a few meetings that Friday, so I couldn't even. I was not in the space.
I can't remember what happened with me last week. It's been a blur, kind of this business with the MBA and whatnot. But
Mhm.
I think that finding time for what is really important, like this podcast,
Important.
is important.
Yeah. So the thing is that because it looks like anytime we want to have an episode, we have to like think through it instead of just we can come as we are. Of course, we'll prepare, we'll
Yeah.
have some topics, but we'll just allow it flow. And I think people will appreciate, of course, having we have the structure, but we would also speak authentically, and just speak through what we are going through in our professional lives and how that relates to them chasing the bag and we chasing the bag. Because that's essentially what we're doing. We're chasing
Exactly.
the bag.
I think one thing to even look forward to is that since the last episode, that was 3 weeks ago. Is it 3 weeks ago now? I think it's like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I've had requests from two people to come on the podcast from my MBA class. That is
Nice.
something. That's something to look forward to.
Okay now.
The next,
Yeah, man.
probably maybe the next episode or the next, I don't know, 3 episodes from now, we will definitely have at least one person from my MBA class joining the podcast. My friend who's worked in finance in Lagos, Omoefe, she's also asked to come on the podcast since, I don't know, probably last year.
Of course,
So
let's bring that on. Are you
yeah,
making
she's
any friends, any new friends at Oxford? How are the people? Just uh, tell me exactly how it is, because for the different I know from anecdotes with
mhm.
friends that have been at different business schools have the character of the people who are there. So if you are going to HBS, you know what to expect. If you are Stanford,
Mhm.
for me, yearlies are very warm, and I think it was not the typical MBA experience of the people who are there. Of course, you have those types everywhere you go. We are very talented, accomplished individuals who are in these programs, but you can still find your own set of people who would make the experience delightful for you. So how is it generally at Oxford and for you?
Generally, I think it's been great. I mean, what percentage was the international students in a year? Yeah,
So we are like one out of four. So it's a huge international campus. So
like
that's
one out
another.
of four. So that's like what 25% international.
Yeah. Yes. So
So it's quite different from Oxford. Like Oxford is 96% international.
that's amazing. Oh, okay. Now I see. I'm sure you're enjoying yourself. I didn't know that.
So it's you're never out of place. So that's cool. Making friends from all over the world now. Like I can literally say all over the world because there are cool people from all over Africa, from North
Yeah.
America, South America, Asia. So it's been great. Everyone has been warm as well. A lot of smart people. That's with the kind of crazy schedule that we have. So it is very much like a 9 to 5. And juggling that on with recruiting or preparing for recruiting, that's like looking for a job or wanting to be a part of communities or wanting to go to networking events,
Yes.
trying to learn new skills. Like one thing I've picked up is archery. Well, I tried archery in the past, but now I'm in a, what they call it, beginner's course
Okay.
that I'm
That's
taking. So it's like I have like a small community in the archery club developing. I have like this small community in my college as well. Then there are, friends that you're making at school as well.
yeah.
Yeah, then also trying to come up to speed with the classes, trying to learn some accounting. I've never done accounting in my life. So accounting, business, finance. So I'm trying to just do it all, but at the same time, be careful of like, what your overarching goal is.
It's for
Try to get
you.
as much as possible. But I think I'm not doing enough in engaging with I don't know.
everyone feels that. Honestly, everyone feels that because your priorities change depending on how apparent it is. So, for example, as an international
Mm-hmm.
in a country, one of your priorities is either a lot of people want to go back, or people also want to stay back in the country and
Mm-hmm.
maybe get jobs and get some experience in different country. That's very overarching for international students. They also want to make friends, you want to interact, but you don't want to feel out of school.
Yeah.
Really important. And I think the recruiting piece, just to, I don't know, just to segue, how's
Mm-hmm.
that? Because I know recently, was it this week, Amazon laid off, there was news everywhere that Amazon laid off over 30,000 employees.
Really?
Yeah, like he's been, it's been every.
That's crazy. Do you know why that is especially crazy? It's because I'm recruiting for Amazon.
Well, yeah, if they're still recruiting, that means they need talent that have
Yeah.
it. So that's important. But they're claiming, or their claim was that this is the AI wave.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are saying that's not the truth. Amazon recorded billions in revenues like last year, even for the first half of this year. What people are saying is just the usual profit chasing of these big tech companies to meet shareholder expectations. The shareholders always expect that every year on year you need to do better. You need to do better, and because of how their business is, slim margins on all the goods and services that they are selling, they have to always do this type of things. It's a for me, I think it's a mixed bag. It's like them chasing profitability. Then there's also the talk of we're optimizing, we are using AI in our processes now. But some, I just saw a tweet some hours ago that some of the guys they laid off are actually they are top brass engineers. So it's not even what they claimed it to be. They claimed it was the middle management, people that are just pushing papers and stuff like that. And it's just a wake up call for everyone in the world, like for young people generally, because this is the world that
Absolutely.
we are living in, and we are being dealt this card. So taking our careers, the way people took their careers before, like the boomer generation was, you can be in one company and you stay with that company for 20, 30 years. But the rate at which, innovation is happening and companies are chasing after profitability, efficiency, you have to prioritize yourself over any company, any one company, in essence. So yeah, it's been everywhere. Like a lot of people there have been think pieces about it everywhere on LinkedIn. Of course, you know LinkedIn that's turning to
Absolutely. I think
something.
my thought on that is you can't blame these companies too much, especially when you have newer companies that are coming into their space, especially with this AI wave, and they
Yeah,
are taking market share, and you are looking at your business. If you have any underperforming arm of your business at this point, especially as a big tech company, where there's a lot of investment going into AI, and I even found out on Sunday that Amazon also makes their own chips, their AI chips, and they have a whole thing that they offer. I was doing some research. But yeah, I mean, AI is the future. Everybody can agree on that. That's where all the money is going to. And as a big tech firm, you don't want to be in Apple's shoes, for example,
exactly.
where
This is that.
everyone is ahead and you are just trying to catch up. I feel like Amazon's space and Apple's place too, right, in the tech world is kind of solidified,
Yeah,
right? But that arguments that they give for,
the
I
layoffs.
don't know, I don't feel like shareholder returns is the greatest argument for Amazon, given that they don't pay dividends and
Mm-hmm.
every, I mean, cent is reinvested into the business.
Yeah,
So maybe they are thinking about shareholders in the sense of the growth of the stock and how it will appreciate in
yeah, yes,
the stock exchange and whatnot. But yeah, it is really interesting. That is, like you said, for people that are career people like us or like me, is to take your career more seriously. And maybe now it's time to look into careers that are kind of AI proof in a way, where you don't want to be what?
do you want to go and be a welder? Because I don't.
Maybe not welder, but AI proof. I mean, maybe this is not the greatest time to learn how to become a UX, UI, UX designer.
The fun.
or it is like say, I mean, that time has passed 5 years ago
Mm-hmm.
or 6 years ago. That was when it was, 2020, 2019, 2020, where people would sit at home, learn how to use Figma and all these
Yeah.
apps, and just from there you can progress to getting a job. But now AI has come in and it has taken probably jobs like that, like the low hanging jobs in the tech
Yeah.
space, most especially.
Yes.
So writing the like entry level
Software
software
engineer.
development or product development. So yeah, this is the world that we are grappling with now, and it is only going to get better or worse depending on how you see it.
Yeah, depending on how you see it. To your point that Apple hasn't had any breakthrough or any clarity on what their AI plan is. I think I even saw, was it yesterday? I think they have a deal with Google that Gemini will be powering Siri from.
They have a deal with everybody.
Like, I'm just like, what's happening? I was telling someone else, my friend that was with me, I was like, this is going to be like Steve Jobs must be rolling in his grave. Like, if AI is going to be the next point or technology that will bring innovation, and
Right?
Apple is not in it, it's sad. But I don't know what they'll have plans. I don't know what their plans will be.
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't. They'll have plans, but it's not yet clear what that's gonna be.
Yeah. What do you think? I've heard, I mean, I don't think it is going to happen. About what do you think about this idea of Apple? Apple, they are notorious for not doing big acquisitions, but Apple buying Anthropic and Siri getting replaced by Claude, for example.
Well,
Siri getting phased out and Claude becomes
what
the
from
new assistant on Apple devices.
Apple devices, Anthropic is doing amazing. Like they feel a lot of people have put all their attention goes to OpenAI in this AI development, and also the big tech Meta, Google. People don't really. Anthropic is for me, they're like the dark horse. And they are, of course, people know it's not essentially dark horse, but they are not as valued or as spoken about in the industry generally. Much maybe due to the charismatic nature of Sam Altman and how he has been the poster face for artificial intelligence for the
Yeah.
longest time. Even the founders of Anthropic were former OpenAI staff who left to build Anthropic. So I think it will be a very, very, very great opportunity for Apple because but I don't even know if the Anthropic people will want that. I don't think they will be interested in such a deal, knowing the potential of what they'll.
They could get.
Yeah. So it just depends on if they make it worth their while. And these things are partly, of course, the founders must decide, and also investors.
Mm-hmm.
So if investors see it as an opportunity to get an early win, or they don't really see Anthropic doing any better than the combined Apple and be part of Apple will be a better value for them. They might push for that.
Push for that.
Well, it will be a great opportunity for them, in my opinion, to be honest, because Apple has entrenched itself in the hardware space. So they have that lockdown. And even the next set of devices that will be produced, like, I don't know where they are at with that because I know got this former Apple chief designer and they're now
Johnny
building.
Ives. I mean,
Yeah,
is it Johnny Ives or
yeah,
something?
yeah, there's Johnny Ives, and they're building what will be the next platform that all AI software will run on.
Like the next device, right? Yeah. That is something to look forward to. AI
Yeah,
devices so far. I can remember the Rabbit R1 and I've forgotten the name of the other one that were released last year and they were both terrible. The humane AI pin, the one
yeah,
that you keep on your shirt, and they were both terrible. And it feels like OpenAI, right, going into that hardware space and having someone who is renowned for making great products
yeah,
at Apple coming to head that for them. And it is exciting. I don't know if the device is earmarked for next year or something,
yeah,
but the way I think it's going to be like an OpenAI device where it's just going to be AI apps
Mm-hmm.
doing things. I know that OpenAI just puts out an AI store
Yeah.
where you can make apps or make agents, and that seems like what the future would be. I'm only curious about how that would work with the bigger or the more established tech companies. So, like, how does that affect a Meta,
Um,
a Netflix, for example? They'll probably need to do some sort of AI integration with their systems, with OpenAI and the device. It is also exciting, actually, if you're
yeah,
in the tech
yeah,
space.
very exciting. I think another, yeah, it's really exciting, the software side. Another side that is burgeoning, and there will be commercial use case very soon, is the humanoids. So there's this company called, I saw them last week as well, this week, One X Tech, and they have a robot called Neo, and is
Oh, yeah, I saw that as well.
yeah, I think I shared that, and it's practically will help with all your tasks at home, and they've pre-trained it on some tasks, and if you have more tasks at home, maybe washing plates, sweeping, opening your door, things like that, you will be able to put this humanoids to train it on what you want it to do, and to be able to do it. And from next year, they will start shipping it out actually. So I think I saw they have like two options. For an outright purchase is about $20,000.
$30,000.
And if you want to, then there's the subscription service where you pay, I think, $400 per month to rent it, so to speak. So it's the world is going to change, and when our kids will be growing up, these things will be in homes, like literally the future that we saw in all those sci-fi movies that showed how the world would be with flying cars. Maybe not flying cars now, but would be a reality.
I did see, I saw an MKBHD video on that humanoid robot, right? Where it
Yeah.
is not exactly rosy. It is cool, but it was most of the commands were kind of controlled in another room by somebody wearing a VR device.
Else, yeah.
So of course, they still have a lot of work to do, but I think like it's more of a proof of concept, kind of in a way, given the kind of movements that it can do.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's also exciting, and that is where we are going to AI and robots everywhere.
Everywhere. But it's also very scary because who would want, there will be the first in every technology wave, there, the early adopters, the crazy guys who are just like, yeah, bring that robot into my home, let it work, let it learn. And they're the ones that power the learning of that technology, and they will help the company develop it into a better product. Then there will be the second set of people, and then there will be every other person, the laggards who will join. But eventually, that's going to be the future. There's
Yeah,
no,
it's also like it's like Black Mirror ish in a way
yeah.
what the future is looking like. But yeah, not to be gloom, but I mean, anyway, I like to look on the brighter side of things.
I recently watched an episode of Ryan Murphy's American Horror Stories,
Yeah,
and it was,
I've not seen that show.
yeah, it was a humanoid that was delivered to this guy who was an artist, and it was actually a humanoid called Daphne, and it was not like Neo because he had a human face and stuff like that, and it was
Mhm.
interacting with the guy's life, killed his girlfriend, and landed him in jail. So those alternates, negative experiences that people have had through movies might make it very difficult for easy adoption, but there will definitely be the risk takers among us who have a lot of money, because 20K is not cheap.
I mean, that's the thing with new technology. They always, well, I mean, like you said, the early adopters, they are the enthusiasts, they are the people that have the cash to make those kind of purchases. And 20,000, like you said, is not cheap. But if it is technology that makes sense and people start adopting it and we start having competition, that's just the beautiful thing about capitalism. And you start having competition in
And
the
the price
space,
go low.
we are going to see exactly the prices start to dip as time passes by. I mean, humanoid robots are not going to be iPhone cheap, but I mean, as if the proof of proof of concept, the early companies. I don't know if Boston Dynamics is doing any robots for retail, but I do know that there are some Chinese companies that are actually actively in that space. And once it starts getting adopted, especially when like an American backed company
Yes.
starts to make waves in that space and they are becoming successful, then you're
Mm-hmm.
going to see different versions of it,
Yes.
and you're going to see the costs start to go down as people want to probably want to attract new consumers, new what they call customers to their products. Then you see strategies start to adapt as well, and companies positioning themselves in different spaces.
Absolutely. So it will grow and evolve. And one thing that also came to my mind is that now then the branding and the marketing side of it, they'll make it so palatable. The genius minds of marketing will make it so palatable that why won't you have a humanoid in your house? Like it's just it's just like I don't know having a pet. Like they will try to create
Yeah,
those similarities to make people very comfortable with using.
that's crazy. I mean, humanoid robots, the future, AI, the present already, because
Mhm.
I've started thinking AI first. I observed up until last week that a lot of people that I know, they're like thinking AI first. Like once they have a task to do or something to write, my first instinct, still up until last week, or even still up until today, is to like, okay, open Microsoft Word or something and start writing. While people are already reaping off the benefits of thinking AI first. I don't know if that's the same for you.
That's me. I use AI so much now. It helps in my thinking. So let's say I have a vision or a product idea for
Hmm.
my company or a way we can increase our time or something I'm really brainstorming. I just ask AI and I use a bunch of them because they have different strengths. So
Okay.
I use Gemini when it's deep research. So if you want to carry out deep
Yeah.
research, historical, compare with current and maybe future, I use Gemini. For creative writing, and maybe I want some creativity to like a piece of writing, I use Claude. I find that Claude is
I like Claude's writing. I used Claude today. It
yeah, I
was
find that
I like
Claude
Claude's writing.
is more creative, he has style and all of that. For maybe more numbers based tasks, I use ChatGPT, OpenAI 5. So it's like I use all of them now. However, somewhere at the back of my mind,
Hmm.
I'm always thinking because my girlfriend always uses ChatGPT. I call ChatGPT her best friend, and I'm like, I'm always thinking, is this helpful for us? Because there are people who are of the school of thoughts. For us who are adults, we've gone through all the schools of education. You are going through like
Absolutely, yes.
so you've learned how to learn, and you know all the different building blocks for learning. But
For learning and reasoning.
for learning and reasoning, which is what you need as a human being to function effectively in the world. But for kids who are just developing these like skills, using AI might not really help them build those skills faster. I was watching a video today. There's this amazing child prodigy. He became a professor at the age of 13 or 14. He was enrolled in NYU and he was like speaking. He was on this podcast by Hazam Minaj and it was like Hazam Minaj was telling him to speak to kids. It was like, if you are using ChatGPT for everything, you wouldn't go through all the typical human challenges that you should go through in learning. When you try something first, you are meant to stumble. Then is that process that makes you very good at it. But if kids really go to AI and just have all the answers and they get all the great scores, at the end of the day, they are not doing the learning and they are going to lose those skills that they need in life. So it's just balancing, to my own mind, it's balancing those two realities in that for me, I know I'm good
Yeah.
on using it. I can think. I know how to think. I've been through all the different parts of education, and I'm just using it to source for ideas that are beyond my reach. Beyond my reach in the sense of because I have access to the internet. I can say go through, scroll the web. What are the different players in this space? What are they doing? How are they thinking about it? How can I think about my own? This is how I'm thinking about it. What do you think? And I'm talking to it like some sort of like
Yeah.
a mountain
Assistance, really.
ideas. Yeah, exactly. But if you're using it to develop those initial building
Yeah.
blocks, is not going to. I don't think it's going to be helpful for children. So I don't know. What do you think?
I think you're spot on, actually. I can imagine being a 5, 6 year old and what that is going to be like in, let's say, 10 years,
Yeah.
where everything is AI first. And say there's a busy parent, the parent is just, and the kid needs, I don't know, help with assignment or something, just be like, ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And that's the reliance on that is, I think, is where the issue is.
Mm.
And that's when it becomes more of the role of the parents in a way to um
Right.
say, are you going to have access to this technology or you are not? It's just like video games, for example.
Yeah.
So if you have a child that is in school, are you going to let them use uh, video
Yeah.
games all the time? Or I can remember when we started learning maths, right?
Yeah.
When we were
We're
in
not allowed
primary
to use
school.
calculators. I
Yes, we're
remember
not allowed
the
to use calculators, exactly. We're not allowed to use calculators because you had to learn your times table and you just had to develop that muscle of reasoning, that quick thinking.
yeah.
And yeah, I don't want to say like I'm scared, but yeah, that's when it's going to
It's going to
be on the parents, it's going to move past being in the hands of companies because companies are always going to chase profitability and whatnot. Then it's going to be in the hands of parents because I imagine that regulators are not going to do anything in that regard.
so another thing that is happening is that a lot of edtech companies right now that are introducing AI to how children learn. There's a company which I heard of that helps schools kind of create deep fakes of the teachers, and
Okay.
then they can really instruct students on whatever is going on any subject, and the students will have the feel that is their teachers that they know in the classroom that is instructing them, whereas it's AI. So there, for example, that use case isn't entirely bad because sometimes, or even I've explained myself, AI can really break down very complex topics to very bite-sized piece that makes it very
Absolutely. Yep.
understand. There's that piece of it, but then there's the piece of then relying on it for everything and for your entire learning, which I am not a fan of right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in preparing for this episode, right, one of the things that you sent to me is the generative AI and retail investing and how it is transforming businesses. So going away from its impact on everyday life, you want to speak more on that?
So I think when I was doing the research, I just saw that about 46% of retail investors now like rely on some sort of AI tool or the other to make investing decisions. That is good, and that is also very concerning because, of course, it can help you, break down topics that we will do on the podcast like this, and you can learn faster. When we're talking about making decisions on markets that are moving very fast, very dynamic, and ever changing, I don't believe that decisions should be made on like particular time-based contextual investing, or what do you call it, investing asset classes. You can use it for education, but when you're making those decisions, you still need to make it for yourself. I know a lot of people will argue differently. A lot of people will
Yeah.
say, oh, they have algorithms that do all these trades automatically and all of that. But these are being handled by sophisticated investors, people who have gone to school, who know the business in and out, who know what the different changes will mean for, let's say, stock or bonds or whatever, asset class it is. But for a retail investor, that's an entirely different, ball game. So, and yeah, that's what I think about it.
I think one thing to have in mind, especially from the perspective of the biases that are baked into this AI apps, right?
Yes.
So I imagine I've not used it for any sort of investing research because I'm not in a position to do any investing these days. But I imagine if you were doing research on a clean energy company, for example, I'm not saying this is the case, using ChatGPT or Gemini,
Yeah.
I feel like it would consider the impact part of
Uh-huh.
it and
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it does this, but might use that as a key decision maker.
Yes.
And when we know that clean energy
It's
tech
just
is they're not the greatest performance right now. right? So how does it filter through the noise or whatever biases that has been baked into it? I feel like this is where the skill of like prompting or like AI engineering comes in, or prompting engineering comes in, is like, this is where I see, because you can create your own GPTs, you can create your own gems. I've created a gem
What
on
is the
Gemini.
gem? What's the
So,
gem?
okay, yeah, GPTs or Geminis, they're like so GPTs, custom GPTs or custom gems, they are, so if you go on ChatGPT or Gemini, for example, and you click through the bar, through the side panel, so it is like your own you can create your own set of instructions, really,
Yes.
and provide some more context or some documents. So in my case, I created this interview prep gen some time ago.
Yeah, recruiting.
I had like practice questions, some materials from the internet. So I just said within these parameters, right? So I uploaded that to the gem.
Yeah.
So yeah, consider this as the assessment parameters and consider this as the blah blah.
Yeah. So essentially, you created kind of your own rubric for how the LLM will work for you in that context.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So just use this and ask me questions, for example. You get,
Yeah.
and evaluate my answers, example, against
This.
this
Yeah.
criteria. And yeah, so in the case of investing, this is where whoever is using AI for, then you can now set your own parameters, right? So you can say, avoid this bias, also bias. This is not like in the prompt, but like you can often create a doc, like a whole document. One thing that I've seen people, and I used to have interns when I was still employed, when um shout out to Ife, he would be using ChatGPT, and the prompt would be like 2-3 lines. I'm like, no, 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 no,
No, you don't know how to.
no,
You
no, no, no. You need to sit down and write your prompt. It's almost like, so I did a prompt on Claude today, and the
Mhm.
prompt was like 2 paragraphs, and that was even. Then I also added a link to it, like, go to this URL,
And
do
cross
this, do this, do this. Then I added a personal note in like 2 paragraphs, and the result was like, it was just amazing. The result was great. So just a tip for anyone using GPT, Gemini, Claude, like, take that extra step, right? Don't just put what is blah blah blah, blah, what should I invest in?
give
So
me.
take that extra step and do that. So, but yeah, that's interesting to see that people are. I can see interesting results if if you have enough background knowledge.
Yes.
I can see you making some like interesting investing decisions
That is
with
the
that.
caveat. If you
That
have
is
the contextual knowledge of what is happening in the market. So that's the most important part of it for me. I think we can also segue into, there's the buzz that the valuation of AI companies have been, going through the roof.
Oh yeah, I saw. I don't know. I think I saw it on Instagram. One of these outlets that OpenAI is targeting IPO at a
Yeah,
trillion.
$1 trillion.
At a trillion. That is oof.
And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's interesting. we I think we also spoke about this like last episode, that these companies are going really fast. They are pricing future innovation that we will see into like their current valuations. However, some of them, I think we spoke specifically about Nvidia. I think you asked me a question,
Mm-hmm.
what about Nvidia valuation and all of that, like compared like Tesla and BYD, just to give a recap to our viewers. There's an interview that the CEO of Microsoft had, I think it was this week or last week, where he was saying that Microsoft have like a ton of H100s. So H100s are kind of like the NVIDIA chips that, power all of these technologies, AI technologies, and they are unused. What is happening is that if they have, for example, those chips and they are not being used, NVIDIA is producing newer versions. Like if NVIDIA will produce another version that will be much better, However, the innovation and value that should have been derived from the set that they've already bought have not even been realized because they're not being powered. Essentially, we're just saying that the biggest constraint to AI, which might affect, how these companies really perform, is power and energy. So
Interesting.
the energy build out to power these chips, data centers, the infrastructure that will be needed to even take them to run, and
Right.
then build software on top of them, have not even been, taken care of. Like, it will be the biggest constraint, and a lot of people are not thinking about this. The market is not pricing that into the valuation of these companies, and I was just like, that is really, really, that's true. And a lot of people are not thinking about it. And I was just like,
This
okay.
is this is really interesting because I was having a conversation with my brother-in-law, Andrew. If you are watching this episode, shout out to you about data centers. And this is a slight segue
Okay.
from AI. I mean, we're talking about AI for the entire
Yeah.
episode.
Now
Like,
we're
this is
going
just like
energy.
what the world is right now. But
Yeah.
back to kind of like a chasing the bag pod kind of topic. Still on AI, so data centers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, remember where we used to work,
Yeah.
right? And how we used to flare gas, and that is just energy that is being wasted.
Yes.
And my brother-in-law and I were talking about how he was in conversation with somebody building a data center offshore
Mm.
in a decommissioned rig. So it is kind of like in international waters, the whole cooling, the whole infrastructure is there, something. So how that is, and I was thinking about,
That's an
Nigerian
interesting play.
interesting play in Nigeria. I was just thinking like a Nigerian context because Mr.
Yeah.
Africa that I am. Like, okay, if oil companies were thinking of diversifying, right, in a way, you have this gas that is being flared, so much energy. Like I can remember our gas generator was barely even in use, for example, you understand? So this is something that if we had the really, really smart people and forward looking people in the
Energy.
I don't know, in the energy I don't want to say in the energy space, but like maybe in the government part of the energy space, right? And they were really forward looking. This is where you can leverage on that. So you have this much power that is going to waste. You have land, for example, Boku for Nigeria. So you have power, you have land. What else? You have the cooling that you can do because like all these regions are in the riverine area. The only thing that is constrained, which is where the government power comes in, is the internet infrastructure.
Yes. Yes.
And this is where you start to engage the telcos about giving you, I've forgotten what they call that line. The one that comes from the ocean, the most powerful one.
And
So the fiber optics, right?
yeah,
But like there is a special one that has like the great delivery of something. Then everything starts to come together in a way where you can position yourself as a provider of this sort of technology. And if you are even smarter, you make it a private company and
yes,
things
absolutely.
just
This is an amazing idea. I wish I were not going to do something in this space.
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, it is something I've discussed about.
I remember I was a lot of weeks back, I encountered there's this young guy that is in charge of building, the OpenAI Stargate project. The the company in charge of building it is Crusoe Energy. So it's a startup. The founder is, I think, is Chase Lockmiller. And initially, so he knows like energy in and out type of thing. So he's building those the data center in the Stargate project for OpenAI, or for the Stargate project. And prior, his startup was they were harnessing oil field flare gas to mine Bitcoin. And I remember I watched a video where he was talking about where energy from like this, like energy that is being wasted in the production of oil, in the oil production chain, can be utilized for like different other use cases, like what we're talking about, power data centers. They can even build modular data centers. So I think that's what they built, modular data centers that were, tied to different oil production sites. And those data
Yeah.
centers were powering infrastructure, AI builder elsewhere.
It's a remarkable play because you get to have you like relatively cheap power because what's the alternative? You flare the gas and you also pay. There are penalties for flaring gas, right? Then you also benefit off the, I don't know, from the business itself, revenue from the business. And speaking on crypto mining, oil fields using the flared gas, shout out to Moody. I can remember 5 years ago,
Uh,
2020,
Moody had that idea.
in this episode, there was like a whole business plan that he had, something that I was shopping around then, or like idea that I had. And yeah, think if we're in
Get
like
around. You
a
have a
climb that was thin and I could have taken advantage of that. It's just interesting. But yeah,
yeah,
you
yeah.
want to talk about the Louvre thefts too?
Let's end on a very, very funny note. I think it was on a Sunday. Was this? Yeah, I think it was. This it was on a Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
I can 3 weeks ago, and they were like, "Oh, the Louvre was robbed," and in like 7 minutes, some guys on scooters just got
Yeah,
you.
that's weird. That's like a short timeline. That's a Ocean's 11 kind of thing.
Yeah, very interesting. Like they must be really sophisticated. I'm very curious as to how they will make money out of this. It's very interesting to see. A lot of people are saying it's looping that that led them and stuff. Funny enough, I saw a video, was it on Instagram some days ago, where there was like somebody was saying the history of the Mona Lisa, and that the Mona Lisa was a dead piece of, so it was not an interesting piece of art.
Regarded as any.
Yeah. However, when it was stolen, it was in the news on the front page of the papers for a couple of years. So when it got found, when the thieves were found, it became really, really sought after. And a lot of people were now, waxing lyrical on how, it follows you everywhere you go, if you're in a room, and how it's so beautiful. And it was like, Leonardo da Vinci did not even rate. And they're saying that it's the same thing that is going to happen with those stolen piece of jewelry. That now a lot of the big fashion brands are going to create replicas of that. They're going to sell out, and if and when they are found, the value of it will go up. There's
Yeah.
a conspiracy side of it saying that there's a conspiracy theory side of online saying that maybe it was an inside job just to prop up the value of the artifacts. I doubt that, but that's it.
Yeah, that would be weird. It being an inside job. I saw that some people were arrested and charged. I don't know if they are the actual culprits. And but yeah, it's just
Have they
yeah,
collected? We found the.
the Jews themselves. I doubt it. That would have been everywhere in the news. But yeah, it was Halloween a couple days ago. I wasn't at a party here in my apartment building, but I saw that some people dressed up as the thieves from the Louvre. So that was cool to see. That was interesting. It has become part of the culture now. Part of the zeitgeist is the theft in 2025 of. But yeah, maybe it never gets found, right?
Maybe like I've watched too many of these heist movies, and I think what happens in those movies is that they always disintegrate the precious stones. Maybe if it's gold, they will melt it and use it to form something else. If it's diamonds, I don't know,
They will
and
cut.
then sell it in a different
I
piece. But
mean, maybe the thieves are on the beach in, I don't know, Mauritania right now, enjoying, yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
all right, I guess that's the pod.
yeah. Thanks, guys. We'll see you again in our next episode.
Hopefully, very, very, very soon, sooner rather than later. All right.